I'm Timmy.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Nathan.
And this is Three Old Tech Dudes.
What you got, Nathan? What is this thing?
Just fun. Gotta love that. So I picked this up a few weeks ago. So this is the Roland JX-8P, which is essentially the last of the analog synthesizers that Roland made, design-wise, in the 1980s. And they really didn't make one in the 90s. They made virtual analog synths and things like that, which were pretty good. But this one is complete analog, even though it's very much DX7-ish, with like you only have one data controller and everything is menu in there. But it's just easy to play with. But it's analog, so
It's very Doogie Howser-esque.
it very much
is actually.
isn't it? Yeah. But you know, it's got a single row vacuum fluorescent display, but it's bright. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, it looks really good. What
And
year is
also-
this one from?
This is 85 or 86.
It's like mid 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but it's mid 80s. It's they ran, I want to say, from 85 or 86 up through 90 when they stopped making these. But they really slowed down production right after this thing came out. Then they, like the next year or year and a half, they released the D50, which was the DX7 killer, you know. And then, but this was one of their synths on that way to getting there. So,
Right.
yeah, it's the last of the standard, like, two DCOs, modulator, you got a mixer, VCF, VCA, LFO, a couple envelopes, and then you have various MIDI pieces out, and this is how it's...
So do you menu dive to access all of that?
You really do, yeah. So you go into, for example...
Let's edit a sound.
So we can do... Well, let's go to something that would... So we'll do that. So we'll go into parameter, and for example, we'll go to a VCF 52. So that's the VCF frequency.
Oh, that's neat.
So through the menu, are you just assigning a parameter to the slider?
Well, that's just it. I told it what parameter, and that slider is the only adjustment. So you have aftertouch control, volume, portamento control, which is the only really not menu dive piece, and then bender range. So yeah. So it's over here. It's extremely simple. It's not hard to be able to do what you want it to do. We can go into 53. Kick some resonance up.
No.
So now when you set that, now if you want to adjust a different parameter, does that stay where you left it?
Yeah, so if I go to like 50, 52, 53 resonance, I can take resonance back out of it. And it will self-oscillate, which is really fun. So, 52. So in the self-oscillate, to do that, if you want to, you have to go over here to the mixer and turn down, so 41. So we'll turn this all the way down, which is that one of the oscillators. And we'll go to DC 42, take that one down. And then we'll go back to the 52. Then go back to resonance 53. Should be able to get that to where it does something.
Give me more volumes.
Probably need to. Let me go back to the mixer. Mode 45. actually off. 43. So that 42, 41. Those are off. Go back to D2.
Almost got it to that magical state where it doesn't make sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in what getting it set's a little pain, but
This
what
was
you
all
can
because
do,
I asked if they could adjust parameters, isn't it?
yes. So self oscillation. It actually this one doesn't work as good, but the last one I bought, which was the DW8000, that's really easy to set up on this one. I should do it. I know I'm just doing something wrong, but I haven't gone that much deep dive programming on this one yet. But it's essentially, except for you'll have 2 DCOs on this. If you took out one of these, you can make it sound just like a Juno 60, a Juno 1, Juno 106, because they're just a single DCO with basically everything else. So you can actually do that if you needed to. So go back to, let's go back to the internal. I'm gonna get off that setting. Exit, nope. Yeah.
It's our cartridge.
There we go. Presets where it was at. So I'm back in the parameter. Let's go to 53, 52, sorry. But you can make, what this is really good for, beyond just if you really want to do that, those old sounds you can do, like, the Stranger Things thing.
We have never done a video on this channel without you guys doing that at least one time with us.
Well, you have to. It's like, it's
I have the entire sequence programmed into mine.
I'm not surprised.
yeah, it's the same.
That's
thing.
cool though. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just one of those. It's a modern rift concept of like what you would see with I don't know, like the the jump.
Oh yeah.
That.
Absolutely.
But, and, where you want to play it in the octave voice, but it's the same idea. But you can do 3 key modes. So you got poly, which is you can do unison.
Are you sure you can do unison?
No, I'm in a parameter set. That's why. Exit mode. I need to get out of that. Little glare. Sorry. Go back to that. Reset. Okay. So you can do unison.
There it goes.
So which unison goes, play 1, I get all the oscillators playing at the same time. Now it divides it, and it allows you to essentially do polyphonic, but if you go into like, there's one, there's almost doesn't sound much, but solo is monophonic, so it changes the way it was. Unison stacks them together, but the more you play, the more it divides it out. So if you play the 6th polyphony this has, it's 2 oscillators per, so it doesn't really make any difference as to that. But it does have some. But you can do unison if you want to stack. This time doesn't particularly go well stacked. I think that's my. But you can play around with that a little bit too. It's kind of fun though, I'm just still messing around with this thing a little bit. But Aftertouch, of course, it's got that, so you can. Let's go to a sound that works better with that. Well, strings probably does. You can hear it change a little bit, but if you go to like vibrato, you can hear it do it more there. I probably need to go in there and adjust the actual little sensor strip that goes across this for your Aftertouch, but it does work, so which is always fun.
So what got you interested in this particular synth? What? I'm sure it was on your list. How many do you have now? Educated guess.
32.
So this is your 32nd one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems absurd.
Sarah would agree with you.
Oh.
Oh man. But yeah, what had you hunting down the
So
JX-8P?
So it's one of my bucket synths. It was because I'm trying to make the 80s collection, if you will. I mean, some of them are not 80s. A couple of them are actually in the 70s, but so this was one of the.
Have a Prophet.
No, that actually is a 70s one, believe it or not. The Prophet 5 was.
Yeah.
I've looked at getting, but see, here's the thing: like, you can buy a new Prophet 5, brand new one.
You can, but
True, but I mean,
it's not as pure.
Well,
Purist.
I think it kind of is, honestly.
Kind
but-
of.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to get you to spend your money.
I know. Start spending yours.
No.
But the so there's some sense, such as the Prophet 5, for example. You can still buy brand new. They went out of business in the 80s. They've actually since come back, which is great, and it sounds and looks exactly the same. And apparently, the actual architecture of it is essentially identical. They've added some tech to it, but the audio path is the same, from what I understand.
Nice.
But then there's stuff like this that's they don't make. They make a mini version of it that is not analog, that is a virtual analog, or ACB, analog circuit behavior, which is just another way to say virtual analog, that emulates this. People, however, say it is not a good emulation. I don't know. I don't have one. I have the original.
Sure.
And I like playing around with it. It's just got some fun features. And I've only had this for like a week or two, and I've just not had the time to play with it that I want to yet.
Right.
But yeah, it's
very cool.
It's a new addition to my toys.
Neat.
So,
And it came with this case, which is
yeah,
neat.
that case is
That's
really
pretty
cool. Yeah. It's got sitting on a little woodworking table I've got in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in Tim's place right
Yeah.
now.
I've already decided it may not be big enough for wide shoots, but we're having fun anyway. So
So your phone has the wide angle view.
that's right. You know,
It's there for a reason.
that's true. So what's next? What's after this one? There's one more on the list, at least I know. You told me that the other day.
So in the 80s collection, the M1, Korg M1 is still on there. If I can find one and not have to spend as much as I would buy a house for, something like Jupiter 8 would be nice. But right now they're going for literally $40,000 a piece, which is
Dang.
somewhere in the level of like, I've lost my sanity completely, let's buy one. No.
That's cool stuff. Well, we look forward to hearing you make some music with this, Nathan.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Cut some tracks for our channel, or just for yourself.
I plan on using this to make a lot of music with. That is my plan. I'm actually trying to do that tomorrow, so I have this weekend set aside as music play weekend for me. So and then we decided to do a shoot today, which is also a fun thing for me. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. You know.
Heck yeah.
Because for some reason Dan wants he likes content. I don't know why.
Appreciate you, Dan. we had a video drop less than an hour ago, and he's already commented on it.
Has he already?
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Of course, he was in the video, so.
Well, that's true. He's a good guy.
He is.
Yeah, we know a bunch of guys in the ham radio world and some other things they're just really
various
really good people.
worlds.
Yeah,
Yes.
the various worlds we live in. But this one's one of those synths that I was on my bucket list, and I like the stuff I've seen from some other YouTubers that have done stuff with this synth, and a couple of them have actually created entire patch sets. Espen Craft, for example, created an entire patch set for this, which I need to download and install because it's actually pretty good. Which I mean, most of his are pretty good anyway, so I don't really dislike any things. But this is actually magnet, so this is
That's cool.
yeah, this is just what the presets
Right.
for the two internal banks are. So you
Sure.
have internal and you have presets. So
Yep.
this can take cartridges. So I don't have a cartridge for it yet, but
Find you one.
well, they're on eBay. I can find them, and there's some new people, there's some people out there making new ones rather.
Right.
So it's just a matter of getting one, and usually they're used for creating your own patch or downloading patches and saving it to the cartridge.
Right.
But people did make actual money in life back in the 80s making sounds for these things to use for various things, much like the DX7 and everything else.
It's a really nice function. I wonder why you took it away in your modern sense.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
the heck?
because you can go online and download sounds.
Well, yeah, but
It doesn't have the same feel.
Getting them,
you know?
well, no, just getting them in as a whole.
Yeah. Well, and so to import
Thing.
import sounds to this, I need to take a laptop and run SysX, and then import it through MIDI, SysX MIDI, so I can download it from like the Patch Bay, for example, and then install it onto this. Which I did that with my DW8000.
Oh, nice.
And I changed out the song, the sounds, because an analog piano really, no, I don't really need that. I have plenty of those if I want it.
Right.
So Craft had a whole patch set that was all like sci-fi synth sounds.
That would be cool. But yeah, if you want like an
Yeah.
analog piano with subtractive synth, it's probably not your jam.
No, it's really because it just doesn't.
That sounds very e-piano.
Yeah,
If that's what you're going for.
This is very DX70,
Yeah.
but yeah, it doesn't sound like a piano really. That a little does, but
it does not.
It's really not. But if you take this away from
My piano teacher would beg to differ.
yes, but if you go into like soundtracks, for example, that's just. It's just one of those sounds you hear. The fifths, that's that portamento thing they were doing at the beginning. That, which is fun. But that's the sounds that analog synthesizers just do really, really well. Of course, we all do the
You're too low.
Well, yeah. Also a bad angle. But there's, but it does do funny things like.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, the clav. Rate the volume down a little bit right now. Right now we're using a small jam box, blaster thing, whatever you want to call it, for our speakers. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a very, very bad rendition of a song from Keith Emerson.
Right.
Yes, I know I played it bad. Okay, I'm sorry. But that, it just gives you that that analog distortion sound built into it, which is fun. But in polybrass. But it's got, the things it does really, really well are brass sounds like, polybrass. String sounds, which I really, really like right there. But like things like voices, they're more like pad background sounds.
Your poor speakers.
Yeah, sorry, we should do organs. However, organs are not bad
They usually,
because they're really not much to an organ. Well, it's decent, but you're limited to two oscillators. Where, like, for example, B3 is going to give you, if you pull the drawbars out, it gives you like 9 different oscillator sounds, and they're stacked in like thirds and fifths and octaves and things like that. And that's how I get B3 sound. But it doesn't do that well. But it's not horrid, but it's not bad.
No.
I can try to find some things, and it does something like the bass. It does basses pretty good. There's just analog synths do that because, I mean, if you think back to, let's say, the first really decent designed synth back, which would be essentially the I guess the Moog Mini, the Mini Moog rather. One of the big things it did beyond, it had like your lead sounds, like, but it also did bass sounds really, really well. But it's based on the same kind of technology, the analog synth technology. So, and of course, it was monophonic, so it didn't have like poly brass sounds.
Right.
It couldn't do it. So it couldn't do that. It could do one.
Right.
But, and then later they had different synths and whatnot that came out that would do that. Of course, probably the most well-used first truly polyphonic synth was probably the CS80 back in 70, I'm going to mess that up, 77 maybe? I'm a little off on that, I'm sure. Then Roland came out with
Don't worry, somebody will let you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, yeah. But then Roland came out with a polyphonic synth, true compute, because this keyboard, for example, is actually being scanned constantly, just like your keyboard on your computer to determine which key you're pressing and that kind of stuff. And prior to that technology, it was a divided network of resistors that told it where you were at, and there was a trick you could play to get 2 notes. But it wouldn't do any more than that. So then they came up with keyboard scanning, and then the computer then tells each voice what to do. So you can get, thirds, fifths, sevenths, and everything else. So it knows what to do. And the CS80 was really the first one, I think, out there that kind of did that in mass. There's probably some experimental stuff out there, but in mass it did that. And then, and then Roland came out with the Jupiter 4, which was 4 polyphony. And then the 80s hit, and they released their big one, which was at the time anyway, which was the Jupiter 8, and it did 8 voice. Hilariously, the JX-8 only does 6. I really don't know why, but that's okay.
Model number not tied to the...
It was at the time, and now it's not. So, I don't. What's the polyphony on your System 8? Is it 8? Which is hilarious. It's 8 on that. Why the 8? Why? I don't know.
Man.
So there was this, and then there was its big brother, which was essentially the same thing with one more octave, called the JX-10, that supposedly was like 2 of these built together.
Yeah.
It's not really quite accurate, but it had a little bit more polyphony and one more octave, and apparently it had like slightly more weighted keys. But essentially it was the same thing, and you could actually put patches on one right to the other because the structure was the same.
Right. So, well, any final thoughts on this device, this cool synth?
I don't know. I'm going to try and come up with some good songs for our intro using this one, and probably a couple other synths. Because I have those.
We definitely need some good beds for the channel. I've been using those more and more. So.
Yeah, I would say if you want to not go insane in life, don't get into collecting synthesizers.
Well, you were insane in the first place.
That's
okay.
true. The synths were the problem.
Yeah,
it
might be a symptom, but
well, now I've also gotten into Jeeps, so I've lost my mind.
It's a Jeep thing.
It's a Jeep thing.
We wouldn't understand.
I like my Jeep, though. I will say that, and it hauled this thing here perfectly.
That's right.
Well, yeah.
But no, I like synthesizers. I like playing them. I like playing around with the way they work and just getting them to work. I have literally done nothing to this except clean the keyboard a little bit, and that's it. And hilariously, it was not supposed to work.
And enjoy it, right?
The only thing that didn't work is this key. Did not play sound.
And they thought it didn't work at all, huh? That's odd.
And they're like, half the sounds don't make sound. Well, they all do, though. That's just
probably user error.
Now, I have seen on Facebook Marketplace before where somebody will get a synth and they don't really know what they have, and they'll say it doesn't work. Well, it's because most synths don't have speakers built into them. So they plug it in, it comes on, and they smash the keys, and nothing happens.
It should make sounds.
And they go, it's broke.
The keyboard don't work.
My Casio doesn't do that.
That's true. Well, that or my favorite, like I picked up the monophonic Korg Korg monologue, and I got it for $50 at a pawn shop. And their whole thing was, well, the guy didn't like it because he only played one note at once. It's a modifier. It's what it's supposed to do.
It's part of its name.
Oh, we did that on the channel, didn't we?
I think we
Some
did.
years
actually,
ago, a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, really? That's what it's supposed to do.
I mean, they're not really usually used as lead instruments. They're, they're
like
awesome for like bass lines and
basses,
pads.
and so you can do like it's really good for like bass lines, lead synth lines, and arpeggiated parts because it has a sequencer built in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's what it's really good for. This thing it doesn't have a sequencer built in. I don't know why they didn't put one in, but that's okay. But I can MIDI in pieces if I wanted to.
Sure.
But this thing is really, really good for like brass, strings, and pads. It's very, very good at that.
Yeah, that would be really
And there's
useful.
really fun things like like this thing where you put it up there a little bit. Just
You love that sound.
I do love that. That is actually really fun. But it's one of those synths that's just fun to play around with too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. We know you will.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll keep watching. We're trying to put more content out, and we kind of have neglected the 3 Old Tech Dudes channel. It's been
We've been busy.
but now we've decided we want to make videos we're passionate about versus just ones that we think will draw views. So we know you'll like some of them and you may not like others. That's okay. Hang around because we have all sorts of different interests and we're going to start hitting them all. You were going to say?
I don't remember now.
Okay.
You crashed my train of thought.
I'm just chopping it out,
Oh well. Smash the like or the dislike button. We don't care.
But we do hope you watch.
We do if you like it. And we'll definitely make some music with
Yeah.
the JX-8P and a few other synths.
Yep, and so you're going to see more synths. You'll still see ham radio stuff here and there. I know that a lot of you are here because of those videos. Not going away, but we always kind of envisioned our channel, and it's almost 5 years old actually.
It's more ADD.
Yeah, it's just that, but yeah, you're going to see a lot more variety in what we talk about. So
It was never really intended to be a ham channel.
no, it just
We just kind of fell
those
into
kind of
it.
took off, and that's something we have in common. And we all each have individual things we like to look at. Like I'm not as much a synth guy, but I love hearing these two talk about them.
For some reason, he likes payphones.
Yeah, which I actually have learned to like. So they're kind of
You know,
neat. So,
which is not wrong.
Yeah.
I don't see one up here.
No, I don't have one yet. One of these days I'm going to find one. So get finally earn your approval. Hey, till next time, I'm Timmy,
I'm Justin.
Yeah, I'm Nathan.
and this is 3 Old Tech Dudes.
Later.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on 3 Old Tech Dudes. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more tech old and new, tinkering at the workbench, repairs, ham radio, electronics, computers, and more. Please like this video and share 3OTD with your friends to help us grow the channel. We tweet at 3 Old Tech Dudes 1 on Twitter, and you can keep up with us on Facebook. Just search for 3OTD and look for our logo. Thanks so much for watching.